What is actually happening behind the scenes when Jungkook shines in New York, while at the same time news circulates that HYBE has suddenly terminated his contract with an American brand in January 2026? Is this merely a coincidence that has been misinterpreted? Or is it in fact an early clue to a major change that is not yet ready to be revealed to the public? That question emerged almost simultaneously with the explosion of a short post on Calvin Klein's official social media. A video lasting only about 11 seconds, given the simple title Day in the Life, yet its impact was anything but simple. Within minutes, millions of eyes were fixed on their screens, watching Jungkook of BTS move calmly, yet magnetically amid the bustle of New York Fashion Week. There was no dramatic dialogue, no lengthy narration, only fragments of visuals that felt intimate, almost personal, as if the public were being allowed to peek into a single day in the life of a global star. And yet, that is precisely where the oddity lies. When everything looks perfect, neat, and bathed in light, why do whispers about the end of a major contract begin to surface? Calvin Klein, through its official account on Platform X, wrote a line that seemed entirely ordinary: Day in the Life. Jungkook and the Calvin Klein Collection Spring 2026 show experience. There was no sign of farewell, no closing statement hinting at an ending. The accompanying photo radiated continuity. Jungkook stood in a loose gray outfit that reflected Calvin Klein's signature minimalist essence, his black hair left long and falling naturally, his expression relaxed as he raised his fingers in a peace sign. The backdrop of birch trees and natural greenery reinforced a sense of cleanliness, calm, and modernity. All of these elements seemed to say that this collaboration was still alive, still breathing, still moving forward with confidence. Yet a public accustomed to reading subtle signs began to sense that something was off. Why did this post feel like a final affirmation rather than a simple documentation of routine? Why did the words used feel neutral, even cold, as if deliberately avoiding excess emotion? In the world of global entertainment and fashion, details like these rarely appear without reason. Especially when Jungkook's name is involved, a K-pop idol whose every step is analyzed, whose silences are interpreted, whose smiles are suspected of holding double meanings. The short video showed Jungkook chatting with other guests, sitting in the front row watching the runway with a focused gaze, then being surrounded by a crowd of cameras and phones scrambling to capture even the smallest moment of him. Models walked in neutral designs, clean lines, and calm colors that define the Spring 2026 collection. Amid it all, Jungkook did not appear as an ordinary guest. He was present as a center of gravity, as a symbol of the meeting point between global music and high fashion. That aura was so strong that many fans called it unreal. As if Jungkook and Calvin Klein were indeed destined to walk together for much longer, public reaction erupted. The hashtags #JUNGKOKXLVNKLEIN and #JUNGKOKXNYFW dominated timelines, surpassing other topics that usually trend during Fashion Week. Prominent fan accounts praised Jungkook's aura, charisma, and calm presence. Some called his appearance pure magic, while others wrote that every day felt blessed simply because Jungkook existed. These comments flowed endlessly, emotional, proud, overflowing with admiration. For ARMY, this was not merely an appearance at a fashion event. It was proof that Jungkook, after returning from military service, had not lost his appeal. On the contrary, he appeared more mature, calmer, and stronger. Yet precisely in the midst of that euphoria came news that felt like a fine crack on the surface of glass. Rumors about HYBE's decision to terminate Jungkook's contract with an American brand in January 2026 began to circulate, slowly but consistently. There was no official statement, no press conference, no direct clarification, only fragments of information moving from one circle to another, reinforced by speculation, analysis, and suspicion. Why would a contract be terminated when its impact on the brand appeared so positive? Why would such a decision emerge precisely when Jungkook was at the peak of his influence in the global fashion industry? Fashion analysts began to speak up indirectly. Some suggested that this Calvin Klein post had the potential to significantly boost sales of the Spring 2026 collection, strengthening Jungkook's position as a global ambassador who brings not only a face, but a narrative. He is not merely a model or a celebrity guest. He is a lifestyle symbol, a representation of a global generation that transcends language and cultural boundaries. In this context, news of the contract's end felt illogical. Why stop something that is so clearly working extremely well? This is where HYBE's silence became too loud to ignore. There was no denial, no explanation, no effort to dampen speculation. For some, this silence is a strategy. For others, silence itself becomes the strongest clue that something is being prepared. In the history of the Korean entertainment industry, major decisions are often preceded by a period of quiet filled with mystery. And Jungkook, with all his influence and scale, would not be at the center of a storm without reason. Is this a sign of a shift in career direction? Is HYBE restructuring its global strategy, reevaluating Jungkook's position in the international fashion arena? Or is this simply a contract that has naturally reached its end, blown out of proportion by overly high public expectations? These questions hang in the air, creating a tension that is hard to explain. What is clear is that the contrast between Jungkook shining in New York and rumors of a contract termination in January 2026 creates a narrative far too dramatic to be dismissed casually. On one side, the public sees Jungkook appearing free, confident, and fully aligned with Calvin Klein's aesthetic. On the other, there looms the shadow of cold, calculated corporate decisions that may not take into account the emotions of millions of fans. These two worlds collide, creating a gray area that fuels curiosity. And it is precisely within this space that a larger story begins to take shape. A story about power, strategy, image, and the price a global star must pay when every step he takes is worth billions. If the New York Fashion Week stage is a symbol of triumph, then the closed meeting rooms behind glass buildings are where fate is often decided without applause. This is where the story of Jungkook and the rumor of HYBE terminating a contract with an American brand begins to feel increasingly complex, increasingly emotional, and increasingly inseparable from interests far greater than a single viral post. The question now shifts. Is the glamour of Calvin Klein Spring 2026 merely the final peak before a chapter is truly closed? Jungkook did not enter the fashion world as a fleeting experiment. Over the past several years, his presence as the global face of Calvin Klein has shaped a new identity, both for the brand itself and for Jungkook as a public figure. He is not merely a K-pop idol wearing expensive clothes. He has become a representation of the values of minimalism, freedom of expression, and modernity that Calvin Klein seeks to convey to the global market. Every campaign featuring Jungkook consistently triggers surges in attention, cross-cultural discussion, and tangible conversions in sales. This fact makes rumors of a contract termination feel like an anomaly that demands deeper explanation. Yet the entertainment industry never moves in a straight line. Behind relationships that appear harmonious, there are always cold, precise strategic calculations. HYBE, as a major agency with a global vision, is known for being extremely cautious in managing the image and career direction of its artists. Its decisions are rarely impulsive. Nearly all are born from long-term analysis, geopolitical market considerations, and internal dynamics that are seldom revealed to the public. Thus, when rumors about the end of Jungkook's contract with an American brand in January 2026 surfaced, many began to wonder whether this was part of a larger plan, rather than simply the end of a single collaboration. There is one detail often overlooked by the general public. Global contracts between K-pop idols and international brands are not only about popularity, but also about narrative control. Who holds control over the image? Who determines the direction of exposure? And to what extent is an artist allowed to build an identity outside the agency's ecosystem? In Jungkook's case, whose influence continues to expand across music, fashion, and global pop culture, these questions become increasingly relevant. Does HYBE feel the need to reclaim control before Jungkook's image grows too independent on the international stage? The fan reactions flooding Platform X actually reflect an intriguing paradox. On one hand, they celebrate Jungkook as a global icon who is shining and glowing on the world stage. On the other hand, there is an unspoken anxiety, as if they realize that every peak of success is always followed by unexpected change. Those praise-filled comments, though seemingly light, carry deep emotion. Pride mixed with the fear of losing a moment that feels as if it is passing too quickly. Fashion analysts observing this phenomenon from afar have begun to construct alternative narratives. Some argue that the day in the life post could be read as documentation of a transition rather than mere celebration. A visual marker that Jungkook has reached a certain point in his collaboration with Calvin Klein, a point that may indeed have been planned as a peak before a new direction is set. In the logic of the fashion industry, collaborations that last too long without evolution risk losing their shock value. Ending something at its best is sometimes considered more elegant than allowing it to fade slowly. However, this logic clashes directly with public emotion. For ARMY, Jungkook is not an asset that can simply be moved or stopped. He is part of a collective journey, a symbol of hard work and dreams that have grown alongside the fans. Every decision involving him feels personal, even when that decision is made in rooms entirely devoid of emotion. This is why the rumor of a contract termination feels so unsettling. It is not merely about business. It touches identity, loyalty, and a sense of belonging shared by millions around the world. HYBE, so far, has chosen to remain silent. There has been no official statement confirming or denying the rumor. In the media world, such silence often becomes fuel for speculation. Old posts are revisited, interviews are reanalyzed, and every pause is treated as a hidden signal. Why has HYBE not immediately calmed the public if this rumor is untrue? Are they waiting for the right moment to announce something bigger? Or are they deliberately allowing the rumor to grow in order to test market and fan reactions? Meanwhile, Jungkook himself continues to present the image he has consistently built. Calm, professional, and almost devoid of emotional cracks that can be clearly read. In the Calvin Klein video, he appears focused on watching the runway, as if fully immersed in the world of fashion rather than thinking about contract drama or media speculation. This attitude only strengthens his appeal. Amid the storm of rumors, Jungkook's calmness becomes a sharp contrast, prompting a new question. Does he already know something the public does not? Jungkook's return from mandatory military service is often described as a turning point in his career. Many see it as a moment of rebirth, where he is no longer known solely as BTS's Magne, but as a mature individual with his own choices and direction. His post-military collaboration with Calvin Klein reinforces this narrative. He appears more mature, more masculine, yet still retains the gentle side that makes him beloved. Thus, the rumor of a contract termination in January 2026 can also be read as the marker of the end of one phase, not the end of everything. However, the public is not yet ready to accept such a calm explanation. In the fast-moving ecosystem of digital media, every uncertainty is immediately filled with speculation. Some suspect that HYBE is preparing collaborations with other, more strategic brands. Others suspect differences in vision between the agency and the brand regarding the future direction of Jungkook's image. Some even connect it to plans for a major BTS comeback, as if all these decisions are part of a giant puzzle that has not yet fully come into view. This is where the tension of the story deepens. Jungkook stands at the intersection of art and strategy, between self-expression and corporate control. Every step he takes, including sitting calmly in the front row of Calvin Klein Spring 2026, is now read as a symbol. Is it a symbol of freedom, or a symbol of a subtle yet inevitable farewell? The public continues to guess while time moves closer to January 2026, a date that now feels like an invisible line separating speculation from reality. It is increasingly clear that this story is not merely about a single contract coming to an end, but about a moment of transition that has been deliberately left hanging. The public is no longer only asking whether HYBE truly terminated Jungkook's contract with an American brand, but why timing has become such a decisive factor. Why January 2026, and why does this news surface precisely when Jungkook appears so strong, so relevant, and so deeply loved on the global stage? In the modern entertainment world, time is not a neutral element. It is a message. It is a strategy. Every chosen date carries meaning, whether for markets, investors, or fans. January is often seen as a beginning, not an ending. So when rumors suggest that Jungkook's contract will be terminated in that month, a new interpretation emerges. Could this be not about ending, but about clearing space for something bigger? A step backward before a far more ambitious leap. Industry observers have begun to read patterns. HYBE is known for rarely allowing its artists to exist within too many narratives at once when a major phase is about to begin. Focus is key. If Jungkook is being prepared for a more central role, whether in music, large-scale global solo projects, or even a new direction never explored before, then streamlining external partnerships could make strategic sense. Yet this logic, once again, clashes with the emotions of a public already deeply attached to Jungkook's image with Calvin Klein. For ARMY, the visual of Jungkook standing among birch trees, wearing a minimalist gray suit is not just a campaign photo. It has become a symbol of a specific era, an era of maturity, calm, and post-military global expansion. Ending that collaboration feels like closing a photo album that was never quite put away properly. It is no surprise that timelines are filled with anxious questions, half-desperate speculation, and hopes that this rumor is nothing more than an exaggerated misunderstanding. Yet there is one thing that is difficult to deny. To this very moment, there has been no official statement that truly rules out the possibility. HYBE's silence, which once felt strategic, is now increasingly being read as psychological preparation. In the history of the K-pop industry, fans are often emotionally warmed up before a major announcement. Uncertainty is allowed to grow so that the impact of the announcement, whatever it may be, becomes far more powerful. On the other hand, Calvin Klein itself continues to maintain a professional narrative. Their posts show no signs of conflict, as if everything is proceeding normally. This opens another interpretation. Could the termination of the contract, if it does occur, be not the result of tension, but rather an agreement planned from the very beginning? A clean ending without public drama to preserve the image of both parties. In the world of global brands, an elegant farewell is often more valuable than a collaboration stretched on for too long. Jungkook, at the center of it all, remains the quietest yet most scrutinized figure. He offers no explicit clues, sends no cryptic messages, and does not openly play with public emotion. This attitude can be read as maturity, but it can also be interpreted as confidence, that whatever happens, he is ready to face it. And perhaps that is the core of this story. Jungkook is no longer a figure defined by a single contract or a single brand. He has moved beyond that. When January 2026 finally arrives, the public may receive the answers they have been searching for, or they may be left with even bigger questions. Is this truly the end of Jungkook's era with an American brand? Or merely a pause before the next chapter begins on a far more surprising scale? What is certain is that this story has proven one thing. Even amid runway spotlights and endless praise, the most decisive choices are often made in silence, and perhaps that is precisely why this story feels so unsettling. Not because of what has been announced, but because of what has yet to be said.